Usually, evidence of a defendant's character isn't admissible at trial. But if the defendant presents evidence that he's a good person, may the prosecution respond with proof that he's not? The Third Circuit locked up the answer to this question in Government of the Virgin Islands versus Roldan. Juan Roldan became upset with Enrique Garcia over money issues. Garcia was later found dead from multiple machete wounds. Garcia's body was in a yard next to Roldan's house. Blood was in Roldan's yard and house, and blood was on Roldan's body and clothes. The police also found a bloody machete hidden on top of an outhouse in Roldan's yard. Roldan was charged with first-degree murder. At trial, one of Roldan's neighbors testified for the defense. The neighbor stated that Roldan didn't have many visitors, implying that Roldan was a quiet recluse who kept to himself and wouldn't murder someone. Later, the defense directly asked one of Roldan's relatives whether Roldan was a lonely, unsociable person. The relative testified that Roldan never bothered anyone. The prosecution asked the defense to move to strike the relative's testimony. The prosecution claimed that this was testimony about Roldan's allegedly good, quiet character, which opened the door for the prosecution to introduce evidence that Roldan wasn't good and quiet. But the prosecution was giving the defense an opportunity to strike the character evidence and close that door. The defense refused to retract the relative's testimony. The prosecution then asked the district court for permission to question the relative about Roldan's quietness and whether he ever bothered people, including asking her about the fact that Roldan had a prior murder conviction. The court granted the request. In front of the jury, the prosecution asked the relative whether she knew about Roldan's prior murder conviction, and she admitted that she did. Roldan was convicted of first-degree murder and given a life sentence. Roldan appealed to the Third Circuit.